new beginning.
Welcome to the Grief Dreams podcast. My name is Shawn Ram, alongside Dr. Joshua Black and wonderful Jade Carling Black. So excited. It's all three of us on at the same time, which sometimes we weren't able to do this year, but it's great that we even all got on the mic at some point this year. But welcome, everyone.
Hi, good morning, guys.
Hi, Jade. Yeah, it's nice to have everyone back on the mic together. We usually do these, separately when people can't make it and people fill in and stuff. But it's nice to just be able to chat. I think the listeners want to know what's going on in our lives, because we don't really share too much on when we're interviewing people. We're more or less, we care about what's going on in their lives, the guest. So it's nice to be able to just chat about what happened with us in the last year or so.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and especially trying to remember last year. It's been an odd one, right? It's been a pandemic-filled year. It's what can I say? Yeah, I guess we'll. Do I interview you? Have you interview you? So let's start with Jade. Jade, can you go back in your mind? I know it's hard to list and go back and see how the year's been, but how's it been for you in general?
It's good, actually. And a part of me kind of struggles with feeling bad about saying that, but in the same breath, not really. But it's been incredibly a rewarding year for me career-wise, and just had lots of aha moments, a lot of recalibration, and just, stabilizing my intentions of like where I want to go, career-wise and with some of my passion projects and stuff. So in that sense, it's been really great. And then, obviously just navigating my understanding of the pandemic and how that's impacted work and family life and my daughter, and kind of navigating all of that has been challenging. Obviously, I've never been here before, so I have nothing to go off in terms of like, how do I make sense of a pandemic and all the restrictions and like moving through all that. So it's been a learning curve for sure, but lots of really high moments, like lots of wins for me. So I feel like I made a lot of progress this year, and yeah, feeling positive about that and feeling even more optimistic about 2021 and how that's going to unfold. So interesting.
That sounds really cool and kind of similar to my year. But I just wanted to ask you, let's start with maybe one or two things that were hard or difficult for you, and one or two things that, like you were talking about career-wise maybe, or personal-wise, that you're I guess proud of, and you felt like that was a good thing that you accomplished or went through.
Absolutely. I think difficult was like in March, maybe it was March or April, when we like shut down and my office building was on restrictions, so we were required to work from home. And I figured out like I don't know how to do that. Like I don't know how to do that as a mother. So it was like melding those worlds of like having my daughter at home and trying to meet my deliverables. It's really hard. Like I realize I am way more productive in an office setting when I can kind of have a barrier between those two things. It's way easier for me to be present in each of those settings, but melding them together, it's like I had so many moments where I'm like, this is why this isn't a thing. Like this is why people either like work or they're like stay-at-home moms. Like it's rare that people are like all in both worlds, because it's like, especially at her age, like she's a toddler, she's 3. It's
Right.
nuts. Like
Yeah.
you're just getting snacks all day. You're distracted.
Yeah.
She's hungry. She wants to play. Like, so there was like moments where I was like, how like, I don't even think this is possible. I was like, I don't, just trying to get my head around that. So that was hard. So hard. And I realized I'm a better mother when I'm working or feel really balanced in my professional life and my personal life. And everything felt completely lopsided. I don't know. Do you guys relate to that or what? Like in your own way, or?
Yeah, I'm really glad you actually touched upon that, because, there are a lot of people, going through that, and shout out to all the people, fathers and mothers who had to try to figure that out and are still doing that, because I can't even imagine, like, I'm sure, your daughter looks at you and they see your home. So they're like, okay, now I get attention or this or that. But again, like you said, going to the office to be more productive. And for me, I didn't stop. I did not work at home. So I did continue to go into my place of work.
Right.
So I can't imagine. The other thing, what I realize is working from home, I think would have been more difficult in that I would be in the same space. And I feel like it was good for me to get out of the house and to even go, and even though I have small teams, to even go interact with those small teams and come back and to my home, which is comfortable and safe, and where I can rest and get that, rather than have it all together, which would have been, I think, difficult.
Oh, it's like worlds collide, Jerry. Like it feels like, no, this is my safe place at home. Like you said, my unwinding, my relaxing. And it's like you want me to move and shake in this place where I've already kind of created an attachment, like or identification in the environment as like relaxing. You get home from work, you like, melt into your couch or like however you want to spend your off time or whatever. But like to mix your leisure world and your like hustle world was challenging for me. Like I'm the same. I need to get out of the house. I need to work, and I'm so productive. And I didn't realize how big that gap was until our office building opened back up. And like I was in there and it was like this high intensity right away, and I was like, I love this is like the best feeling to have this and then to come home. So yeah, like it scares me when I see those posts on like LinkedIn or whatever that it's like office culture is dead. I'm like, no, 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 we're not doing that. Like office culture is not dead. Long live the office. I want to keep doing I want to keep doing this. And like in the same breath, I get the positives of like if you're having a stressful moment, looking out your window and seeing trees in your backyard and like making it whatever a tea and like having those gaps. But I mean, the view outside my office is pretty incredible, so I feel like I have that there anyway. And I'm like a squirrel at home. I get too distracted, and then I'm like organizing the pot and pan cabinet in between meetings and stuff. It's all over the place for me.
Yeah, yeah. And obviously, having to then balance, like when you go, I imagine you go to the office, this is my office hat, this is my Jade's work mode. And then now at home you'd have to, I gotta play mommy hat, and then I play Jade hat, and I play, fix the house hat, and there's all these too many things that you're balancing. But I think if anything, they should highlight for society at large the need for maybe a little bit more balance and resources. So like maybe, again, options like, hey, if you want to work 3 days from home, or you need to change your hours, great. But, have the option to be able to go into the office. I think these are great things that we can hopefully reevaluate. And also number of hours that we're all working. Maybe it gets a little bit crazy. Maybe we all don't need to work, 40 hours a week, or 40 plus hours a week. And if we're efficient, we can get things done in, 8 hours, 6 hours a day, 4 hours a day. I mean, there's enough studies out there that show that how people are able to focus at 45-minute intervals is probably best, not really, go, 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 go. And people need breaks. But yeah, I think if anything, this should open the conversation as to how we can reformat our work life to better suit our needs as a society.
100%. Couldn't agree more. So yes, I mean that's an offshoot. That's a positive offshoot. And yeah, like I love that it's kind of sparking that conversation. I couldn't agree more about the flexibility and what works for you, because some people don't like the office and like some people are thriving in their homework environment, which I
Yeah.
get, but
Yeah.
I don't know, like it's a dance. Everyone has to figure out what's kind of working. But for me and my personality, I was like, whoa, get me back to the office like
Mhm.
yesterday. So that was hard. That was hard for me. I feel happiest when I'm productive and like I'm working away at things. So that's what brings me joy. So I don't know, like lessons learned, it kind of, like I said, refocus some stuff. And then the other
Hold
thing,
on.
like to touch, yeah,
Hold
go
on.
ahead.
Yeah. So yeah, one of the things that happened in the pandemic is that I don't think I've wore like jeans or like all the time, like because I'm zooming all the time, right? So I usually just like for all
Don't
those
wear
people,
pants.
well, I wear pants, but I wear like sweatpants. So I don't think I've really like dressed up in like over a year. Like it's just it's a weird feeling, but like I'm just dressing very comfortable all the time rather than I guess fashionable.
I've noticed.
I kind of miss that, right? Because like I don't know, like you want to. If I put on a nice pair of jeans or like even a nice top, I want to be going somewhere and not to just like the grocery store and coming back to just sit on my couch. So yeah, a lot of it's been an interesting change for me in that sense of just really staying at home a lot to do the work. But as with you, Jade, like there's been a lot of positives that happened this year, and we can talk about those next. But yeah, not too many negatives after I dealt with the anxiety of the emotions of the pandemic. Like once I was able to deal with that and clear some of that stuff up, then I was able to actually maximize my time again. And like for me, like that's the main thing. And a lot of times when we can't balance your mind, everything's going to be off, and that's the hard thing about working at home. You can't balance your emotions that well because you got deliverables for your work, but plus you have this child that wants your love and she sees you there, and it's just like it pulls on too many strings and it's hard to balance who you are.
Oh
So
yeah. Well, and
yeah,
also I want to say about the thing, like when I was getting ready to go back to work, I was telling my colleagues like I'm wearing a ball gown on the first day because I felt like that same thing. Like I love getting dressed. Like fashion is a way that I express myself. So to not have that or feel like there's no reason to like really get put together because you have no like meetings in the community, that was a hard one for me too. So I relate to your sweatpants, stuff and wanting to just go over the top when I was able to go back to work. And so I'm okay with like getting done up to go to the market or whatever. But yeah, that's a matter of preference. But you can only wear sweatpants like so many days in a row, and then it's like, okay, come on, we have to do something else with
well, actually, it's not true. I can do it 7 days a week. I have around like 7 pairs. I'm good to go. I'm set.
You're an anomaly.
Completely set. Well, when the pandemic hit, that's when I went and bought some more. I knew. I foresaw.
It was an
He didn't.
excuse.
Yeah, he didn't stock up on toilet paper. He stocked up on sweatpants. Smart man.
Funny.
So Jade, what's I know you had a couple like amazing things happen this year, and the one was you had like a documentary that was filmed. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I know I've talked about my overdose prevention work on here previously, but I've been doing that for the last few years. And when the funder told me that they were going to wrap up the initiative and that they wanted basically a way to like tie together all the loose ends of like all the things that we had learned, and so much of the work was around anti-stigma and just really educating people on how bad the overdose crisis is here in BC, and how far-reaching it is, how heavy the impact has been on our community, and just a struggle figuring out how to support people and how to support families that are trying to support people or their loved ones navigate all that. And so I decided last year, probably in January, no, yeah, in January, February, that I wanted to do this. I wanted to produce like a mini documentary. So I was just going to basically, I wasn't sure what it was going to look like, but I knew it would be like a knowledge product that I could disseminate in the community to stakeholders, social service agencies, different people that work in some capacity or relation to addiction and recovery supports, harm reduction initiatives, things like that. So I planned this, I had this brilliant plan in mind about how I was going to contract a videographer and pull some peers and different people that I had worked with over the last 3 years. And we were gonna film a mini documentary. And then the pandemic hit, and I kind of got scared thinking there's no way I'm going to be able to pull this off because we can't see people, we can't go places. I can't even have a screening because I had like from start to finish everything like mapped out in my mind of how I wanted it to look. So then everything changed, and so kind of had to like either throw it in the trash or dovetail and figure out a way I could do it that might not be as grand of a vision as I initially had, but still meet the end goal. So decided I was still going to do it. And in the 11th hour, garnered some support from some other people in the community that were interested in the topic, and interested in the effort. So we ended up gathering a little bit more money to kind of supplement it, and found some people to participate, found an amazing videographer to film it and edit it, and the ball got rolling. So between like go time and the end, end product was probably like not even 6 weeks, 5 weeks, and we just pulled it together. And it was really cool because it kind of paid homage to, because I don't know if you guys know this, but the Indigenous population in my community in BC is disproportionately impacted by overdose use and misuse, and or opioid use and misuse. And we have a really high Indigenous population, and the culture here, it's strong and super robust. And so we really just wanted to give a nod to the culture, and give a nod to particularly the women who are struggling with addiction and recovery, and do that. So we incorporated a cultural element into the documentary. The website is actually callingoftheheart.ca. You guys can go check out the documentary if you'd like to. It's very short. It's like 11 minutes, but it features some people that I've worked with over the last 3 years, peers and support workers, or A&D, alcohol and drug counselors. And yeah, we threw it together. But the main premise of the project was just really inspiring people to change the way they talk about people struggling with addiction, and how we frame that up, and how that can be detrimental to people struggling. Like the one peer in the video, she'd struggled with addiction for many years, and she talks about someone walking by her when she was at her extremely low point in her life, and someone throwing a shoe at her, and calling her a derogatory name, and just how much she struggled with being a human and having that experience, and just already feeling so low, and then feeling like a random stranger who doesn't even know you or doesn't even know your story kicking you when you're down and throwing a shoe at you. And for her, it's like, that was a huge moment, a horrible moment that she's had to process and cope with. So a lot of conversation about that, and I'm just really proud of how it turned out. And amazing traction. Like right away, we got like 38,000 views, like in the first little bit on social media, just, blasted it out there to all our networks, and just making an effort to share it and inspire conversation. So that was definitely a major win. And I'm really proud of the way that we adapted to the circumstances and made it happen, even though, we were trying to figure everything out with social distancing and stuff. And like another important thing to note is that through the pandemic has been like a major public health crisis, and has thrown many curveballs our way. But there's other concerns in terms of health and well-being through the pandemic, and isolation, and not being able to go to support meetings, maintain sobriety. Lots of people I know have taken a few steps backwards because they're unable to get the support in the same way, like people who really rely on going to meetings to maintain their recovery.
Yeah.
So lots of unintended struggles have emerged through the pandemic, and overdose is extremely high in my community, worse than it's ever been. And a lot of that points to issues related to the pandemic directly.
Wow, thank you. And again, I'm proud of you too. That's such a quite a great topic to cover, especially where in Canada, and just to reiterate, where that's British Columbia, Canada, the West Coast, for our international listeners. And it's again, it's something that we're seeing more and more of, and you've just added something beautiful to that movement. That's a movement that's moving forward in terms of understanding and giving people the respect that they haven't had in the past. Like, when you're throwing a shoe at someone, or talking to them like they're not even human, that's not helping not only that person, but it's not helping society at large move forward and helping the whole institutions of recovery and from addiction. So, that's incredible. And I can't wait to see it myself. Is that something that you're excited about doing more projects like that?
I would love to. Like I'm just so excited I got to add that to my resume. Like it's an amazing thing, and I'm happy that I had the support in terms of the agency that funded the project and, all their hard work in keeping that conversation going. So that's great. I mean, I love just pulling it together and producing and having the idea and then see it materialize has always been a really cool experience for me. But this is something completely different that I never, usually I write reports about my projects and, the Times New Roman 12-point font, and it feels very technical and organized but I mean, this I find it's calling of the heart is, what we call the the video. And it was like, how can we pull on heartstrings that's not a report that feels lifeless and
Mhm.
like, oh, this is what we did and this is how we met the deliverables. It's like putting humans in something. And like these are real people that I've worked with, that I've cried in my car with, that I've had lunch with, that I've held hands, supported, like so many ups and downs. There's so many meaningful relationships with the people that are in the video. So it's like I can't watch it without crying because it's personal to me. And so it's a really cool way to breathe life into, a reporting strategy and just giving it vitality and color and meaning. And so anytime I can do that, I mean, as much as I love writing technical reports, this is like life, human life, and it's so powerful. It's incredibly powerful. So yeah, of course, if I can do more of this, maybe I have a future in short film production or something
Yeah.
like that. I
Yeah.
don't know.
No,
We'll
well,
see
that's
where it goes.
and I think that's the beauty of it is because obviously you have to have, it's great to have a love and a passion for it and not, it's like a child. You've raised it, you create this project like a child, you see it from inception to the end. And if you feel great about it, I'd say, hey, keep going because like again, I could just see more and more of those type of projects and it's such a beautiful topic and it's so helpful to get those faces out and to get those voices and to actually have those conversations. And again, this is why I do the podcast. This is why we all do the podcast, is to kind of have a conversation. When you hear the voice, when you're talking, it's so much different than someone reading an article about grief or reading it from a book. It has more of an intimacy. And now on video, you can see them, you can hear them, you can see the tear shed. That's beautiful. And hopefully again, it changes hearts and those people who didn't respect people who are recovering or didn't respect people, who from First Nations background, then they can see those videos and hopefully change their hearts.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So great. So yeah, I mean, if the initiative is there, if the resources are there, then I of course would love to execute. If anyone's listening to this and lives on the west coast of Canada and has an interest in pursuing some kind of thing, I mean, I'm game to explore it for sure. And it's been a learning curve, but it's been great. And I'm just a major win for me in the community this year amidst lots of challenges. So that part isn't lost on me, and I feel grateful.
Yeah, I remember when I first saw that, I was actually really shocked on the numbers and how more people were dying from overdose than COVID, but yet all the attention is on COVID in the community. I think that's just it's a weird thing for me because shouldn't we be looking at the thing that's killing the community members the most and try to tackle that as this pandemic is going on? And it seems to fly under the radar for a lot of people. I don't know if it's because people blame those people, but with COVID it's like anyone can get it kind of thing. I'm not sure if that's sort of the reason behind it, but it definitely shocked me, and not really understanding the significance of that problem in anywhere in the world, right? Like, because those numbers aren't really reported. All you hear is like the COVID numbers on who's got it, who's been tested, who's symptomatic, who's died. But like, I'm really curious now about the other numbers. Like, no, tell me, okay, those nice, thank you for those numbers. But what about the overdoses since the pandemic started? How has that changed from the year prior? And let's take a look at that, or like all that sort of stuff. So it opened my eyes to like just like what people aren't talking about that we need to talk about. So I was really hopeful that was starting the conversation a little bit more.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. And those are valid questions. Why aren't we? Why isn't the conversation about that? But yeah, I would, my experience has said, there's lots about discussions to be had around. If you get COVID, you're a victim, and lots of people view those struggling with addiction as, bringing it on themselves, or they, people are forced to take ownership for their struggles with substances. That's just like how the narrative has been. So,
and it's not going to change,
anyways,
like because of COVID, right? So it flew under the radar before, and it's probably still going to again. But it's just nice that we can bring it up and say, like, if you're interested, watch the video. We'll put the link on the show notes so people can click on that and watch it.
cool, love that.
So the other great thing that we did this year, which was phenomenal, is we started an online course.
Yes.
So
we joined the Teachable family, which is so cool.
It is so cool. I'm really excited about that because, it was one of the dreams I've had for a long time. Because we did 2 workshops. One's on like relationships, the other one's on grief dreams. And I guess I'll just talk about the relationships one first. So it's been one of those things I always wanted to talk about, but there was never really the right time. Like, you can't really talk about it too much on the Grief Dreams podcast because no one's interviewing me. and then and usually when I do talks, it's always on grief dream stuff. And you try to slide some stuff in about love and relationships. But this was the first time we got to actually talk about it. And we both got to talk about it, which is phenomenal because we used to be married. Now we're divorced. And to be able to talk about how can we still be, best friends among all that, and to be able to talk about relationships and how we grew a relationship through it all is one of the remarkable things that, I see in my own life. Because I know when I started dating afterwards, one of the major things, people couldn't understand how we're still friends. Even to this day, people don't understand it. And I think that's, for me, that's fascinating because like, why can't we love those people that we used to love, right? Like, why do we have to close our heart to those that we're not together with anymore? And the course, I felt it was just a way that I could open my heart and to try to tell people that there's another way that is about keeping your heart open at the same time as saying goodbye.
Yeah, radical.
What was your thoughts on doing that? I know it was exciting for you too to be able to do something like this.
Absolutely, it's the best conversation because, like, what a wild road we've been on together. Like, I think we've talked about this before, but I mean, we've known each other since like the 3rd grade and long time, and our relationship has shape shifted so much, and I'm so proud of our relationship and where we've gone and where we've been, and it's just awesome to have that. And yeah, you're right. When you split from somebody for whatever reason, where does that love go? Like, I never really understood how, people talk bad about their exes, because I feel like at one point in time, you guys, loved each other. You cooked a Valentine's meal, or you met her grandma, or like, whatever, you went on a road trip, or were intimate, or whatever that looks like. And it's like, at that point in your life, you shared love with that person, and honor that, respect that. And even if it didn't keep going, then it's like, don't get petty about it. Like, I just feel like you have to honor those relationships, but you really have to honor the relationships that have supported you and just been so steadfast. And that's obviously how I feel about our engagement. And it's so cool. And then, like, in the same breath, I feel like we haven't really been able to fully address, like, there's so much more we could talk about. Like, we probably could have done, like, or can do, like, 10 courses on the same topic, because we do have lots of material. And so it felt like it was a Cole's Notes kind of version, but I'm just honored to do it. And it just feels so good to share those teachings and honor it and celebrate it and put it out into the world. Incredibly therapeutic and exciting. And obviously, we're both passionate, about our relationship and all the beautiful things that it has taught us. So, a huge win. I know we've been talking about doing it for a long time, and I'm grateful that it's out in the world. So,
Yeah, so it's called Crazy in Love, using romantic relationships as a vehicle for growth. And yeah, so we talk about, why we even look for relationships, talk about being in relationships, breaking up, self-care, all that sort of stuff. And yeah, there's just so much for anyone that is in a relationship or seeking a relationship, and what you should think about and different ways to process some of the emotions that occur so you don't lose yourself while you look for a partner to be with. And I think that's sort of the main thing is, how can we use these moments to understand ourselves better so we can be more loving in this world?
absolutely. And it's about creating a whole self to bring to the relationship. Because that's one thing I never had. I was incredibly codependent, and you really taught me a lot about, one thing I really admired about the way you behaved was that, like, you weren't so wrapped up in me because you were so focused on your personal goals. And at first it made me mad, and then it made me kind of jealous, and then it inspired me. Like, I went through all these kind of stages of, like, he's not wrapped up and codependent in me. Like, that was really hard for me because it's like I'd always been in like needy relationships before. But you just were really good at balancing your personal aspirations, your career, your school, your work, with me. And it wasn't like abandon. And I find people do that all the time, abandon their personal things to be like so immersed in this relationship that they forget where they're going or what their dreams are or who they are independent of that partnership. And that was something you were so good at, setting those boundaries and just really modeling that for me. Like, this is how you be in a partnership, and you're so stubborn with the boundaries, like, and saying I have to do this, and the time management and all the stuff. And because I didn't have those qualities, or I hadn't nurtured that in myself, like I said, at first it made me, mad. And then as like time went on, it was like, how does he do that? How does he take care of himself and not throw everything into me, but still allow me to feel so loved and supported at the same time? Like, that's alien to me. I don't know how somebody does that. So great. That's just one of the thousands of teaching moments I had through our partnership. And hey, I'm pretty damn good at doing that now. So somewhere along the way, I absorbed some of this stuff. So yeah, we talk about that in the course. And um it's so funny because I've had lots of conversations with people and say it's a unicorn, like nobody's friends with their ex-husband. And like, I am, and I'm proud of that, and I want to demonstrate how we were able to do that. And you can't be in like your ego space all the time and manage that, and you also have to operate from a point of, my partner is not here to entertain me. Like, you don't owe me anything as a person. You're not here to entertain me, is the best way I can put it. You're just going through your life. And if we're lucky, we can hold hands for a bit and support each other to the best of our ability, but it takes a lot of pressure off and, makes things lighter. So I hope whoever takes the course gets something out of it, and can pick up on the passion that's there and the beautiful teachings.
I agree. There's so much in there. So if anyone's really interested in that, they can go to the griefdreams.ca website, and basically all the information's on there through the online course function tab there. And so I would want to say too, with that course and the other course, I think in February we'll offer a coupon code. How much you want to percent off? You want to do 21% off for the month of February?
Let's do that.
All right. So you so if you go to when you check out, just do 21 off, and off will be all capital letters, and you'll get 21% off the course. So I think that's a great starting point, especially with February is the month of love, and we get caught up in, do we have a partner? Do we not? How am I supposed to get the other person to love me more? or how do I facilitate my love? And the course talks about that. So I think it's a good month for people to reevaluate how they love and what their focus is within a relationship.
Agreed. Beautiful. I love it.
Beautiful. All right. And the other thing that came out was the a Grief Dreams workshop that I put out, which for me, like, it's been a long time coming. Like ever since I did my master's, 12 years ago, I wanted to be able to raise awareness on some of the stuff that I was seeing. And like the only way academics really knew how to do that before was to publish work. And I've published a ton of work. 2 more came out last year. I got 2 more coming out this year. And then, but it's still not connecting with, the public as sort of, people have said it probably would have. And so I'm like, how do you connect with the public the easiest? And it's just an online workshop. So for me, it's always been like, this is like from the end goal of trying to educate the world in a topic that no one really knows anything about. And like, you'll maybe read an article here and there, but you don't really fully understand the topic because you just can't put it all in a journal article. So this is actually a long course. I think it's like 9-10 hours where you actually get to look at the literature on it. And we talk about, sleep, dreams, grief dreams. There's so many aspects of the topic that we look at, and also how to work with these dreams too. So that's also on there. So if you're interested in that, this is the time to upgrade your knowledge on the topic, because it can help you with anyone you meet. It can help you even with yourself when you have these dreams as you move forward. So yeah, super excited that it's out now. Anyone in the world can do that. And I felt like I achieved a goal, like a long lost goal that like I forgot I even had until I like put it out. And and then I realized there was this huge weight off my back. And it was the freeingness of it all was phenomenal. And I can't really explain it, but it did something to my soul in the sense of, oh, you're right, this is what I've been working for. I wasn't really trying to get the PhD. That was just the outcome of trying to educate the world. But no, now it's there. Now anyone in the world can just take it. Like I don't have to go and do a talk in Istanbul, right? Like I can actually just say, hey, take this course. Like if you have any questions, let me know and we can talk about it. So now it's just available. And I feel like, okay, like I did my part. And now like 2021 is something new. It's a different story moving forward. I'm really trying to focus now that these goals are done, these long goals, what can I work on in myself? And it's really about having fun. I've been, I don't know if Shawn knows this, but I've been playing video games. It's been the first time in like, oh man, must have been like 5-6 years, maybe longer. Then I actually played video games just for fun, right? I didn't have like an assignment due. Like I had the time to enjoy life now. And I feel like that's where 2021 is all about for me now. It's about enjoying life rather than trying to build my life or build the foundation.
Gaming hard.
Yeah, gaming hard, killing some orcs in Lord of the Rings. No match
that's
for
fun
me.
because you have an insane, like your work ethic is insane. It has been insane since the whole time I've known you. So good for you. That's great. Fabulous.
Thanks. Yeah. So that's why.
So what else is on the agenda for enjoying and gaming, and what else?
Well, I want to do another course.
Write 4 more or 4 more articles. Publish
well, and it's just
things
do the continue to do the podcast, but there's a more freeing feeling because you have the time to enjoy other things like reading books. I'm reading some books now. I never wrote the only books I ever read were based on grief dreams or like journal articles. I'm reading books for fun, and it's just having that time, spending more time walking out there. It's one of those things where I never had the time to focus on because I was so dedicated to these other goals. And now it's like, oh, I have so much time. Like, what do I want to do? What do I want to try? Probably cook different meals I've never cooked before. It's just like this freeing quality to it. And also spending time answering questions that I get. Like, people all over the world, still message me about grief dreams. And to be able to have the time and not feel rushed or feel like anxious to try, like not have the time to email them back, but to be able to be, okay, I'll get to that today and to not have that push. It's amazing. So, I'm grateful to see what happens now, and to really celebrate that goal and that win.
I think that's a great theme in general for all of us is balance is plays a part in striving for that balance. And sometimes you have, you're out of balance a little bit, trying to accomplish certain goals, and you end up feeling it if it takes too long. And then we go back to understanding, go back to the center and realize that, hey, we need it all to align the way it should be. And you got to feed those buckets when they're a little bit empty. And that's where work comes in. That's where personal goals come in. That's where relationships come in. That's where your social self-care time comes in. And that's where, gaming or going for walks or cooking meals or, whatever it is that gets you, I guess, free enough and more like childlike enough, gardening, whatever it is for you.
Yeah, and I'm really working at that. I'm I don't know. I think I've been in like a restorative, like, because I feel like when I was younger, I just was so frivolous with my time and energy, and then it was like, okay, that's not good, and going completely the other way, and so you just get in this like working mode, and like I have to achieve or I have to make up for lost time, kind of, and I too feel like I'm getting to a point now where it's like I can take a deep breath and like, okay, do a little bit more leisure stuff, and I don't have to work so hard to claw myself out of the bucket. So yeah, I feel like in a lot of ways I'm kind of at the same point, Josh. Like it's like I can kind of take my foot off the gas a little bit and enjoy, and it's good like podcasting because there's like not any deadlines, or to work on projects but not feel that intensity of like I have a deadline or it's highly structured is a really cool feeling. And I think just the participation in it comes out different when you're relaxed or you don't have an end goal, I guess, or like, a goal post that can't be moved.
No, it's so true. It's so true. So yeah, here we go, 2021. I think it's been a good episode to just talk about some of the new things and refresh people on where we're at. Because I think, like we matter too. And I'm glad to be able to talk to you guys all the time. Like I talk to you guys every day almost, where like the audience never gets a chance to see that side of us. But yeah, we're all good friends, and so it's nice to just be able to catch up together on air and to see where this crazy 2021 takes us all. And I said the podcast is still running, so that's great, and I'm really excited for that because it's one of those things that brings so much meaning to my life. Like before, I had to like do research, I had to do a lot of things and maximize my time to feel my life was meaningful in a way. But now like one podcast gives me enough meaning to for the week. So it's great to be able to have that within my life and to be able to get to know people constantly every week with the different guests that we have on. So I want to thank all the guests who do come on and all the people who listen, because that means a lot to me personally, that you're getting something out of this and you're following us. And if you have any questions, if you want to be a guest, just let us know. And we have a pretty long wait list to get on, but hey, it's one of those things that if you're interested in, now's the time to let us know.
Absolutely. And thank you for saying that we matter, because we absolutely do. And I just think this endeavor has been so amazing and cool, and I'm so proud of that we're still here and we've made this work despite, because we all have other obligations and life is busy. And I mean, let's be real, the pay, I mean, it gives you meaning, but it's time and energy, and the pay is low. So you want to make space for it, and obviously, we have the passion to kind of keep going with it. And I'm just proud of what started as an idea is now, where we're at, and that's pretty badass. I love that. And obviously this means a lot to me too. The topic is important and it makes me feel vital and alive. So to anybody who's ever downloaded an episode or tuned in for an episode or been on the show, I too I would like to express my gratitude for that, and just thanks for being here, and to Shawn and Josh as well. I'm happy we're still standing.
And it's crazy. 15 more episodes. We're at 200. Can you believe it? So we'll be at 200 within this year.
Yeah. And again, it's been a fast, I guess, 4 years plus now. We're on our 5th year now of doing this. And yeah, to look back and to see, and I'm proud of all of it. I'm proud of each and every one of you. And it's a project that gives me joy, and that's been a bright spot in 2020 and now moving forward into 2021. that's another thing that I can look at. And you're right, the pay might be low, but it's high reward in other areas. And hopefully that, and again, to remind me, thank you to all our Patreon supporters and all those that have been supporting us. We really appreciate
Yes.
all that. And again, it's just one of those things that like we do it because we love it. We all have, regular full-time jobs, but at the end of the day, this is something that we continue to do because it gives, rejuvenates us, and it fulfills that part of me that otherwise would not be as fulfilled or in other endeavors. But yeah, it's been a great, and I've nothing but excitement for what's coming up and all the guests that we'll get to speak to.
And one last thing I want to add is that we had the Grief Dreams newsletter that came out recently. So hopefully you guys had a chance to read it. There's some very interesting news about just us as a team, some articles that came out, and then some academic articles. But also there is a lot of cool Grief Dream stories in there that people have submitted. And so if you haven't got it, don't worry. You can go back to the griefdreams.ca website. And if you go to Grief Dreams, there's a tab for newsletters. And so if you go there, you can just click on and download the newsletter and read that. We have all the other newsletters within there. And so each newsletter has, one or two really interesting Grief Dream stories that help people in their time of need. And so if you're looking for maybe, like a pick me up, a lot of these dreams can really do that. They do that to me, just to be able to see the love that can come through some of these experiences and how it can change people's lives. So that's Shawn. So that's one way people can go. You want to wrap this up now?
Totally. And so yeah, everybody can check out the platform, griefdreams.ca. And like we talked about earlier, those courses are on there as well. So you can check that out. If you would like to contribute, like I'd mentioned, there's links to that on the website where you can do that. If you have Facebook, you can join the Grief Dreams group. You can share your dreams or hear more dreams of others. We're on Twitter and Instagram at Grief Dreams. And as always, we like to end the podcast with love and gratitude from us to you.
I have questions. I have introduced myself. You have introduced yourself. This is a very good conversation.